How on earth did a musician who was specialized in historical keyboards, harpsichords, organs, clavichords, like that stuff from the 15, 16, 1700s, go out and decide, hey, you know what? Why don't I take on all these new technologies and buy a bunch of cameras and the super expensive computers and network attached storage servers and all that kind of weird stuff, spend years getting into it, learning all the ins and outs, how to create something, how to make it happen, and start doing that. Next to that, like historical, can this be further apart? So today, it's all going to be about that, how I actually started shifting from just playing historical keyboards to actually contributing to today's society in a very different kind of way. Hello and welcome to the Artful Maestro podcast. My name is Nenad Leonart. I'm your host. And today we're going to go into the story of how I became not just a musician, but also a videographer for musicians. Actually, how I ended up filming musicians and earning money doing that without having any kind of formal education in it, without having any kind of certificate, degree, or whatever. How that actually came to be, how this weird development happened, what I learned along the way, and why I can encourage a lot of people to not just do one single thing, but actually broaden their perspective a little bit. There can be a lot of gold found in things that you are kind of interested in, but have never really had the courage to do. Before we dive into the story, let me just quickly mention Artful Shop, which is the main sponsor of this podcast. Artful Shop is a place where you can go out and grab a gift for musicians. It's either for yourself, for friends of yours, when you don't know what to bring to a birthday party or whatever. It's like you can get mugs, you can get t-shirts, you can get all that kind of stuff, which is pretty stylish for musicians. It's not like the washed down kind of stuff that you can otherwise get on the internet, but it's actually meaningful stuff that also kind of makes people stand out. So make sure and go check out Artful Shop. And also when you type in a discount code at the checkout, which is going to be Artful5, you get a 5% discount on your full order. Having said that, let's dive into it, how I actually became also a music videographer next to all the other stuff that was kind of my education. During my studies, I was very focused on just Baroque music, on historical stuff. Like, I don't want to say my world kind of ended after the 1800s, but it kind of did. Like after the general studies of the first 3-4 years that I had there, I kind of really specialized on the Baroque field. And it's a funny thing when you talk about historically informed practice musicians, when you hang out with them, like so many of them didn't use a smartphone. It was kind of really this prehistorical thing. Like they had super historical clothing sometimes. They didn't, again, use like modern cell phones. They had like these old Nokia kind of stuff from the 1800s, you know? And it was really weird to see like a very conservative type of musician over there. I never really understood it. I found myself to be more of a so-called free spirit where I was hanging out with my iPhone and I was implementing, like using the calendar in the cloud and stuff like that, where I found, oh, this is really, really cool. I can use technology to actually make my life easier. While others didn't seem to do that. And I thought, okay, that's how the world is. I mean, maybe it's an interesting coincidence, but it is how it is. And more, I felt like this is actually a system. It's not just a coincidence. But the people that are doing certain types of activities, and that they are like part of a certain type of system. And let's be honest, like the classical music system is pretty outdated. The most traditional people that are around today, I would say, are probably either in religious institutions or like in the arts field, especially the classical music field. Like other arts are much more liberal. Classical music is just more like exactly. Yeah. So how on earth did that happen to be, and why did I find myself there? I don't know. I actually love Bach. I was really interested in doing these types of things, but at the same time I was never close-minded. I wasn't really interested in just like doing what the teachers are saying or what this one person deemed important. Not that I had a teacher like that, but it was just like this general feeling of social pressure where things have to be done in a certain way, right? Otherwise you don't belong. So more and more I felt like, okay, maybe I don't belong really in there, but also these people aren't seeing the big picture. Like they're just in their own kind of bubble, and they're staying in that bubble. And being in that bubble, it kind of makes them blind to all the other stuff that's going on. And there's this whole interesting, beautiful world out there that they're just not registering at all. Like they don't notice what's going on there, and they don't use it. The technological development, the all the possibilities that we have. So I said to myself, why don't I go and check that stuff out and just see what can be leveraged out of that situation? And I was thinking, and noticing that all these new kind of platforms, new technologies, they weren't used at all. So keep in mind, this was in the late 2010s. So before the pandemic even started, before we had the explosion of using digital media, also in the classical music field. I was looking back and thinking to myself, how this development is going on, the most important thing that's going to come in the future is going to be the digital stage. And the digital stage, like I thought of it as YouTube at that point. YouTube was like the major platform where everything was happening. And oftentimes, like even when I wanted to play a piece, to learn something, to just kind of go check it out, how others play it or so, I would go and search it on YouTube. And oftentimes I would find like no recordings at all or really bad recordings back then. And then I said to myself, okay, so this is a huge potential out there. Why don't I go and take advantage of this and just start doing it? And well, I don't know, see where it leads. So why don't I focus my energy onto going onto the digital stage? And then I kind of had this dream of always being able to work from home. I'm really comfortable staying at home. I really have a nice apartment, a nice place set up. Everything that I need, I have right here. I don't really love being in the commute. I don't really love traveling, like being at other places, yeah, but like the whole travel, I don't enjoy that as much. So it was kind of a dream to be able to be at home and enjoy all the benefits that I have of my home, but also to be connected with all the people around the world and have all the opportunities all the same. And so I started and said, let's record something that's very dear to me and that isn't out there on the internet. So when people are looking for that kind of composition, they start searching and they find my recording. And when they click on the video and go check it out and they're like, oh, this is nice playing, they remember me and maybe look at some of the other stuff. And then I get like this kind of authority, establishment in the online worldwide stage, right? So that was the idea. So when that was the idea, I said, let's start. let's go and do this. I'm a person who really, when I say I'm going to do something, I just go out there and do it. Even if it's sometimes hard, I have no idea how to do it. If I'm half procrastinating and it's really, really tiresome. And I do love to procrastinate, by the way. But then I still try to pull myself together and just bring everything to the table and let's just do it. So what I did was I took several phones that I had at that time, like my old phone and my new phone. And then I had like, I think 2 tablets. So I put all of those on stands and then I recorded. Just I had a new harpsichord at that point that arrived. It was really brand new. It didn't even have a painting inside. So I actually wanted to have a painting inside of it. And it was just completely white. So to be able to have like a nice recording, I printed out papers of a painting. I zoomed it into so I can spread it all across the instrument. And then I glued it kind of with small paper kind of, I don't know, these small tiny glue things where you can take it off without any problems. And I just like put it on the harpsichord. It was an actual paper painting. And obviously there's not a painting that I found in a good resolution online. So I kind of also had to take Photoshop and just like make a very weird extension of the painting, to go all the way down. It was hilarious. But I just wanted to do it. So I did that. I did the recording. And then I showed it to a couple friends. I showed it to a couple people that I trust. And I asked them for their opinion. And from a couple friends, I got the opinion of, yeah, that's really cool. Hey, way to go. But they were kind of being supportive and they were just kind of being nice to myself. So I felt at that point that there's not enough good videos out there. And if I was being honest, my video wasn't like really, really good. I was more happy with the quality of playing, but like not really with the video quality. I could tell like the composition is off. The colors are kind of weird. Like everything is a little bit like not good. And I had a former piano teacher who actually at some point in his life went into filmmaking, and he made a documentary, and I think he made a couple other films as well. So he really also went into looking into cameras, how that stuff works, directing, and so on. So I went to him and asked, hey, can you give me some tips, something to recommend to make this better? And one of the tips was you need to get good lighting, If you are not well lit, it's not going to be good. So I thought, okay, let's go for lighting. And I got lighting, and then the picture still kind of looked shitty. So it was like, yeah, you need better cameras. So I thought, okay, why don't I go ahead and take a little bit of my savings and then I buy like one camera. And I talked to, like I had a budget of around $1,000. And then I thought, well, why just one camera? I could do like 2 or 3, and then I could record myself from different perspectives. And that would be like kind of cooler because I get to cut it, right? The way that I did with the iPads and with the phones in the first recording. And then I talked a little bit to photographers and videographers, like people that I knew, or I think it was a girlfriend from a guy that my girlfriend knew at the time. So it was like all over the place, and people were just helping me because they were being nice. And I was just asking like, hey, what would you do? How would you do it? And so on. So thanks for everybody who was helping me at that time. It's much, much, much appreciated, especially for someone who's coming into a field that he wants to do but has no idea what they need to be doing. And then they told me, I figured out that these $1,000 that I set aside, it's much too less if I wanted to have like the quality that I desired for this multicam kind of thing, because I could get like one camera for I think around $500, but no lens. So I could have done it with like one camera. And I already had the audio gear from a couple of years back when I was recording like concerts and everything. So all that stuff I had kind of taken care of. But like the video was something that I really wanted to go into. And then I got like one camera, and then I increased my budget. So I got like a second camera and the third camera. And that's where things actually started rolling. And there was a huge increase in video quality. And it was so much fun for me to see how, without too much knowledge, like, again, I've never really done this before. Sometimes I would cut like small videos together for friends or for family, just, to have some fun. But I've never done it in a way where I was like genuinely interested and wanting to learn about it. And here it was a situation where it was like, okay, sit down and do whatever it takes so it looks the way that you want it to look. And I found online creators on YouTube who I liked their style. So I started copying their style, copying their settings, how they're recording, listening to all the tips that they are giving. And I did this every day for a couple hours. So it was really, I came to a point where I was feeling like, am I now doing video or am I doing music? Because I feel like I'm investing so much time into this. And in the back of my head, I went like, yeah, but this is investing into my future in different kinds of realms. So just stick to it and see wherever it goes. And I don't need to do that all my life. Like if I notice and see, oh, that was a stupid idea, I can sell all the stuff that I bought. I won't have lost much money and I will have some life lessons. Well, fast forward that a few years, turns out that I am making 5 figures doing videos for other musicians every year. I am asked by many, many people to give them advice on how to film, how to do it. I have gotten into contact with very many interesting artists as well, where this has helped spark growth. I have been able to record so many things on my own, do my own productions, and put myself out there in a very high quality manner. So I think it was worth it. But at that time, I didn't know. And this was all pre-pandemic, right? And at that point, I also noticed I'm getting to a limit when I'm recording myself, because I can just put the cameras on stands and I don't have like the creative workflow that I would like to. So why don't I try to go to the next level by filming others? And then I went out and asked 3 friends if I could do a video for them, and I would shoot it for free. So I just asked them, would you like to do a video? You just need to have an audio. I will record everything for you for free. And would you be willing to do that? And so they said, yeah, sure. Let's go and try out. And thank you for your trust that you had in me at that time. These were like the first, I would say, like professional video productions that I did for others. And I just wanted to have something to grow on and also to have something in my portfolio, because if this kind of caught on and people liked it, then I could maybe sell my video services in future. And then I could use the money that I got from these video services to invest in more better gear, better cameras, better lighting, and so on. So this was like kind of going to be a thing that perpetuates itself. And people were happy. They enjoyed it. One actually became a very returning customer. So I did a couple videos with him every year, and it was pretty cool. And so it started rolling at the beginning just a little bit, and then the pandemic hit. And then suddenly so many people couldn't do any live music, anything, and videos were high in demand. And I remember sitting at home where everything was closed down, and I was thinking, okay, who's going to benefit from video productions right now? And then I kind of wrote to, because I was a church organist, I wrote to like all the churches in my surroundings saying, hey, I'm an organist. I'm very familiar with like the liturgy. I also do videos. Here's a few examples of the stuff that I shot. So you can, if you want to use that for like your services. And then I sent out, I think, 200 emails, and 2 of them wrote back and were very interested. And for them, I did around 10, 15 videos, something like that. So I did these video productions in that time as well. And I kind of slid into it, and then I noticed, yeah, this is actually kind of fun. Like, I like doing that a lot. It's not that I love doing it in the same way that I love playing music, but it's something that apparently I was good at, that the world needed, that I could earn money with, and that I kind of liked. I didn't like it a lot, like I didn't love it, but I actually liked it because I could use a lot of my artistic ideas to express them in the medium that was video. And it was actually quite much fun. Discovering, learning, all that stuff. And maybe you've noticed, if you've listened to some other episodes, or you're familiar with the concept of ikigai, that this is something that's very close to being perfect, like where I am. Ikigai is like a thing. If you already heard of it, then you can skip ahead like 1-2 minutes. I am going to explain it real quick what it is. It is a Japanese concept that's called ikigai, which means a reason for being. And it's basically, you have 4 different parts that when they play together, it's going to be ideal. Like, it's going to be like your life purpose that you can live with, that you can be centered in, and that you can have a fulfilled life with. So the 4 quadrants are something that you love to do. So number 1. Number 2 is something that you're good at. Number 3 is something that you can get paid for. Number 4 is something that the world needs. And with this video work, I kind of tapped into something that was really covering almost all of these. Again, I really love doing music more, but this was, let's say, more than good enough. And it was a really nice experience for me also to discover it, and also to see how it goes. Now, obviously, there were also kind of shadow moments where things got really tough. Sometimes there was so much pressure in the productions. There was very tight time schedules. There was little sleep. Sometimes there were material and technical dysfunctions, so some stuff didn't work out. And I mean, I learned a lot along the way, right? Always bring backup. I even got hacked at one time, where like all my data, all the storage got hacked and encrypted. So I lost all the data on there. Luckily, I had a backup, but the backup was so slow. It took me around 4 weeks to get all this 60 terabyte of material that was still on there to put it onto different hard drives and to clean everything out and to put it together. So it's been a very, very up and down ride, of course. But that was kind of the story, more or less, how I slid into doing videos for other musicians. And just recently, I've been thinking about, why did I actually do that? Like, why is it so important to me? I have a friend also in the videography business who was also doing music. He's still doing music. He's a pianist, and he told me that he actually quit creating videos for musicians because it was just not fun enough for him, and that he didn't earn enough money with it. So the not fun part is because usually, I don't know if you've noticed or not, musicians tend to be kind of rooted in perfectionism. So they want to have every little detail right. And at the same time, they're not the most wealthy people out there. So they will not be able or willing to pay for all the extra work that needs to go into a video to make it like really, really perfect. And I completely understand someone's decision to say, you know what? I really don't want to deal with this. And I'd rather go into advertisement or doing jobs for like corporate or whatever that's paying much better. They don't have like the same kind of perfectionism demands, and that you can have a much easier and better life with. In my case, the reason why I kind of want to stick to musicians, I don't know, maybe that's going to change, but for now and for these last 5 years that I've been doing that, I find that I really love classical music, and there's so few people out there who are supporting it in a meaningful, sustainable way, that it's kind of gonna stay around for the next generations. As I've mentioned in the beginning, most people are rather stale with it. They're super traditional. There's a lot of gatekeeping, and you can tell that younger generations aren't really interested into going into all of that. It's just, it's dusty and it's not cool, and they don't want that. So I really admire all the creators that are actually helping get this music to a younger audience, and that are helping spreading it, kind of, so we have a wonderful new wave of people getting interested into it, and they can enjoy it and they can learn about it, and it just becomes part of their life. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make these videos, because I want to make them in a way where people look at it and they say, this is nice, this is beautiful. I enjoyed looking at this. I enjoyed having the experience of looking at art that was presented on a digital worldwide stage. And that's why, even like if you ask me to do a commercial right now and you will pay me double, or you ask me to do like a music video, I'm still going to pick the music video, because that's just much more meaningful to me. Again, I don't know, maybe this changes one day. Maybe I'll really come to a point where I need a lot of cash. I don't know. We'll see about that. But for now, I feel that the most important values that I have are aligned with creating videos for musicians. And I'm happy to help anybody out there who also wants to start creating videos for themselves to actually get to the next level and to understand certain things, certain mechanics, because ultimately the goal is, as I've said, to spread classical music to as many young people as possible. If you need any help with this, if you need any assistance, I'm really happy to help. You can reach out freely. Don't be shy. You can just drop me a message. And actually, what's even better is you can just join the Artful Maestro Inner Circle. This is a free community that classical musicians can join when they want to work on themselves, work on their career, learn how to do all these new technology kind of stuff that nobody's covering out there, right? We know what music universities are and art schools, and it's, again, very traditional, while all this new kind of stuff that's really relevant for us as artists, that's kind of being left out. So you can go and find the link below the podcast, join the Artful Maestro Inner Circle. You can join for free. You can just log in with your Google account, and then you will find a community with so many people that you can also talk to them. You can exchange experiences. You can see what works. You can maybe even upload your videos and ask for feedback. And you can ask for directions. What's the next thing that I can do to improve? If you have any gear-specific questions, something that you need advice with, basically anything, that would be the place for you to go and ask it. Having said all that, I thank you for tuning in. I hope that you got a lot out of today's episode. And if you have any questions, remarks, also compliments, feel free to shoot them in a comment or a DM or at the email. I'll be reading through all of these, although I don't necessarily respond to every single one of them if I don't have the time, but just rest assured that I do read all of them, and I thank you for your contribution and for staying around. Have a good one, and see you in the next episode.